What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to go over some very interesting points that a lot of investors should know leading up to their earnings, which in case you do not know is on February 28th after market close. So this is a very big deal. I see a lot of volatility coming from this. So I'm going to go over some data points very relevant to a lot of investors and tie it all together with some technical analysis at the end. But before I get into any of that, you guys know the deal. Smash a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, I do daily videos on trading stocks, crypto, I do it all. So make sure you do subscribe. But with all that, let's get right to it. So looking at the intraday chart, it has been all over the place. So it started out very much red, started bouncing back, and we did actually bounce off the central boiling band right here. That is why we trended down. I'm going to cover that when I do a little bit more technical analysis at the end. But overall, it is a very good looking chart. So I'm just going to start by going over some updated data points, starting with short interest. Short interest right now is 1919, up roughly about 4% from 1 week prior. Utilization is still 100%. Cost to borrow average is definitely going up, so 1347. So given all the circumstances, if we do have a nice surprise catalyst that is a result from their upcoming earnings, this is going to be a very good candidate for a short squeeze. So that's something to keep in mind. Again, not necessarily a good reason to buy it because of it being a short squeeze, but again, it's just one of those things that might just be icing on top for a lot of investors. Day by day change though, it actually has gone down 0.26%, which works out to be 583,000 shares being returned. So no major movements on the short front. So that definitely does show that they don't know where the earnings will actually land. I'm very optimistic about that, and I've done a lot of videos on that. I'm sure you guys are all aware of that and see my stance on that. But I just also want to talk on some options. So options have been kind of hit and miss when it comes to Lucid. Today in particular, it's been $44.91 million worth of options being done on Lucid, with only 5% of them being positive. Yesterday was $15.03 million with only 30% positive, and on average the whole week is around 27%. So overall, people are a little bit more mixed and a little bit more bearish when it comes down to the options, but I still do see that as a great buying opportunity despite this. But at the end of the day, a lot of money and big money is getting into Lucid. And one positive thing to take from all this is hypothetically, if they do have a very good earnings, and especially a lot of money is dumping it into options and assuming it's going to go down. On the contrary, if their earnings cause Lucid's price to go up, a lot of bears are going to lose their money. So that's one positive thing to possibly take from that. Again, that's a little bit more of a kind of interesting way to spin that, but it is what it is, right? Just want to show you the live ticker to my left. Currently, it is up 2.61% with 23.3 million shares being traded. The average is 53. Just want to draw your attention to, again, the block volume. I bring this up almost every video. 1.3 million shares being purchased by institutions and hedge funds today alone. So that is one positive thing. And like I said, I wanted to go through some very interesting points that a lot of people should be aware of leading up to their earnings. So in case you haven't already, make sure you do smash the thumbs up and subscribe. I do daily videos on Lucid and all of its catalysts. So I'm sure a lot of you are technically already aware of a lot of the big catalysts coming out, but more specifically when it comes down to Lucid ramping up their production, they have been doing so fairly well and they've been hiring a lot of positions. And looking at this, they are having another hiring event. So you can see right here, Sunday, March 6th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is a very big deal. Looking here, it does look like it is for second shift production assembly positions, and they have been hiring a lot in that regard, and especially considering they are still estimated to have another 1,000 employees hired just at the Casa Grande facility by the end of the year. So that is a huge deal, and there's been a lot of articles coming out around that, more specifically around the housing and whatnot. But regardless of all that, it definitely does show that they're ramping up production. So coming from an investor standpoint, that makes me very excited, and knowing that hopefully in their guidance when they do have their earnings, they're going to speak very positively about the remaining 2022, especially considering that they are hiring so many positions. So that's one thing to take from it. And so moving on, the next interesting point that I did really find is not necessarily a reason to buy Lucid, but if you are a very big Lucid fan, definitely take a look at their website. You can actually buy their merchandise now. So I really do like that, and some people do find it very expensive, but personally I do not think that it's expensive. I would have already bought a lot of things already, but unfortunately they do not ship outside the States. So that's something to keep in mind if you live outside the States. It definitely has a lot of good merchandise, and if you are a big Lucid fan, definitely take a look at it. It has a lot of cool things. White, black, I definitely would want this camp mug, the tumbler as well. So definitely take a look at that. I highly recommend that. If you are a very big Lucid fan, definitely support them by doing this. And finally, I want to bring up one thing, and it is Bank of America. Bank of America is one of Lucid's biggest fans, and I've been saying this for quite some time. So looking right here, this is their weekly update, and it still does technically for this upcoming week have Lucid Lucid set as a buy, and Tesla as neutral. So that's very optimistic for that standpoint. And hopefully you can see right here on this actual chart. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So looking right here, you can technically see it says 2022 year-to-date stock performances. So there is the EV OEM average. So the only stocks technically above that have produced on better than average is GoEV, Lucid, and Rivian. So at the end of the day, I'm very optimistic for Lucid, and technically we all know Bank of America really does like Lucid and Rivian. Tesla, they are mixed on. They definitely see a lot of positives from that, but look at where Tesla is. So this definitely gives us hope, and despite everything, as much as we've gone down in 2022, I am very optimistic about the future. We are definitely outperforming the average OEM. So that is one positive to take from that, especially leading up to our upcoming earnings again on February 28th. In case you do not know, that is after market close as well. So with that, I just want to transition and talk on some technical analysis. I have the 50, 100, 200-day moving averages, Bollinger Bands, RSI, momentum, and stochastic. So looking at all the chart, I'm very optimistic about this. So right now, technically RSI is at 39, and looking at stochastic, technically is having a little bit of a deviation. And I said this yesterday that it was starting to form. So you can see a black line above the red showing a bullish sentiment, and momentum number of buyers is pretty much maintaining. So that is very optimistic. And looking on the actual chart, like I said back here, we did bounce off of the central Bollinger Band, and that is exactly what happened. So we bounced off of that, not enough to get over that, and so we are trending down a little bit. Again, nothing wrong with that. We're consolidating a little bit, and then we'll try again most likely Monday, and then whatever is a result from their upcoming earnings, then we will most likely break upwards past the S1 or break below to the S2. So that's something to keep in mind, and I've been saying that the last couple of videos, that is most likely where we will be trading up until their earnings. Again, depending on if it's positive or negative. There is going to be a mixture of both positive and negative as a result from their earnings. So that's something for us as investors to keep in mind. What you have to do is take a step back and take in everything. So take in the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, and give yourself a determination where you see it going. Because at the end of the day, if I see something as positive, there's going to be 10 other individuals that see it as negative. So it is going to be that little bit more of a power struggle. And what they're going to do is ultimately, when earnings do come out, you're going to immediately see earnings per share revenue numbers come out. And I can almost guarantee people are going to look at the revenue number and try to figure out and determine how many 2021 vehicles were actually delivered and produced. So that's something as well to keep in mind. That's going to cause a lot of volatility. And then when it comes down to their guidance during their conference call, that is hopefully where they'll give a lot of good guidance, in my opinion, and that is their bread and butter. The guidance is everything that I personally feel is going to cause a lot of positives, especially considering they're going to be talking on 2022 numbers, growth, and whatever questions that you may have concluded up to or upvoted, because remember, you only have up to 24 hours before their actual earnings to vote. So make sure you guys take a look at their website and do that. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of good mixtures of positive, negative, whatever that might be. Let me know in the comments below what you actually think will be a result of their earnings. If you actually are very bullish like myself, then let me know. If you think it's going to be a fairly bad negative earnings, let me know as well, and let me know where you see it going for the price target. With that, don't forget to smash a thumbs up and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With all that said, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.